Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how I created this look. This has been my go-to day-to-day look when I want a little bit of extra something. This is not like my lazy girl 5-minute makeup look, but this is the look that I like to do when I have a little bit of extra time in the morning, when I want something maybe a little bit more full coverage. I've been especially enjoying a daytime red lip lately, so I give you all of my tips on how to rock a red lip during the daytime. I know it can be intimidating, but I actually promise you it is not. And I'm gonna tell you how to do it so that it actually lasts nicely throughout the day. A portion of today's video is also very kindly sponsored by Clinique. I'm gonna be using their Even Better Serum Foundation, one of my favorites. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments and hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy today's video, and let's get right into it. All right, so I have already put on my moisturizer. I actually just did it not too long ago, so we are pretty much good to go as far as skin prep goes, but I am going to put on a primer. Of course, I am going to be using my Tula Filter Primer. This is a blurring and moisturizing primer. I have spoken about this so many times on my channel over the last little bit. This still is like one of my favorite primers I think I've ever discovered. I have said this before, I'm gonna say it again, I'm just not really normally a primer person, but this primer made me a bit of a primer person because I just love what it does to my skin. It does add another nice moisturized layer to my skin, which my foundation always appreciates. And it also does give a bit of like a soft focus blurring effect, but without silicones, which is ideal because I do not really love a silicone-based primer because I always find that it pills with my foundation, especially with my dry skin. I just never feel like they mesh really well. So this is one of the first like smoothing primers that I feel like actually makes a difference and works so well with every single foundation that I pair it with. Now for my foundation, I'm gonna be using the Clinique Even Better Serum Foundation, and I'm gonna be using the shade CN18 Cream Whip today. This is by far one of my favorite full coverage foundations. I've been using it now for years and I consistently come back to it, especially for those days that I do want that coverage, but I don't really necessarily want the heaviness that can sometimes come with a more full coverage foundation, which is what makes this so ideal for day to day because it is a very full coverage foundation, but it's very serum-like and thin in texture, and you need the smallest amount to cover your entire face. So I'm gonna dispense literally like a quarter of a pump. I'm talking a pea size. So what I like to do to make sure that I get an even amount of product all over my face is I dot it all around my face. So I'll do like 3 dots on my cheeks, 1 dot on my chin, 2 on my nose, and like 3 on my forehead, and then I'll take whatever's left over and just kind of put the rest of it on my cheek area. And I'm gonna go in with a foundation brush. This is my Trini London complexion brush, and I'm going to start to blend it out just by dabbing it. And you see how the foundation immediately just like spreads across the face, and look at that coverage. And not only does it give really great coverage, but the ingredients in here are also really awesome. There is salicylic acid, hyaluronic acid. So not only does it make your skin look really good, but it's actually also good for your skin too. It's blended out and my skin is completely blanked out with that teeny tiny little bit of product, but it does not look heavy, like at all. My skin still looks like skin, but it looks totally perfected. Because of the finish, it doesn't slip and slide around my face. It really sets down, and I don't find that I need to even use powder to keep it set. I do have a drier skin type though, so if you have an oilier skin type, you may feel differently about that, but I find I can just leave it as is, which is honestly ideal for me because that just avoids any extra heaviness. Before I forget, I'm actually gonna put on a lip balm. This is my Jisoo Honey Infused Lip Balm, or sorry, lip oil. I am going to be putting on a red lip today, and so it is really important for my lips to be really nice and hydrated by the time I go in to put on my red lip. If there's any dry skin or flakiness on my lip, then the lip is just not going to look smooth. For my concealer, I'm going to be using my Milk Makeup Future Fluid. I've been loving this lately. And this is a pretty full coverage concealer, but it is nice and hydrating. So you don't really need a lot with it. So I just apply like 2 dots underneath my eyes, right on the inner corner, and then right below my pupil. And then the only other place that I apply concealer, but not so much for coverage, more so just to brighten up my skin, is underneath my cheekbone. So I kind of draw a line like that. And then on the sides of my lip and just a couple dots down the bridge of my nose. Blend everything out. I'm going to use my Trini London Concealer Eye Contour Brush. Side note, I am loving these Trini London brushes. The last time I used these in a video, so many of you guys were wondering what they were. and they are from Trinity London, and I just really like how compact they are, and the shape of the brushes are just so nice, especially the concealer brush. I feel like it's the perfect density and the perfect shape to blend out concealer. I'm a really big fan. I use such a small amount of product. You really don't need to use a lot of product to get good coverage, especially if you are using a concealer that has a lot of coverage, because you can put like 2 dots and just move it across your eye where you want it, rather than putting that concealer literally covering your entire under eye and then blending that out. When you do use that smaller amount of product, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get that brightness and that coverage that you're looking for. You just kind of need to manipulate it in the right way. And that way you're using a small amount of product, which means that you're not going to get that heaviness, you're not going to get the creasing, and things are just going to look lightweight all over. To set my makeup in place, I'm going to use my Kosas Cloud Set in the shade Feathery, and I'm just going to put a little bit underneath my eyes, around my mouth, and on my nose. I especially want to set around my mouth because I am going to be putting on a bold lip, because it's going to help in stopping your lipstick from bleeding. So now let's move on to bronzing and contouring, my favorite step in my makeup routine. And this is definitely a little bit more of like an extra step because I'm doing 2 different bronzing contouring products. So I'm first going to go in with the Fenty Cheeks Out cream bronzer in the shade 01 Amber, and this is a very, very cool toned contour shade. And I typically don't really go for these types of cool tone products unless I'm at this level of fairness that I'm at currently. I have fully transitioned into my winter shade. All of my summer bronze has left the building. It is long gone. And so now I need to add, you know, some artificial warmth to my skin, but I also want to add some shape to my skin. And I find that when I am a little bit more on the fair side, I find it actually looks a little bit more natural when I use something more cool tone rather than something warmer to shape my face. So I'm gonna take a little bit of this and I'm just going to start to very lightly dab it right on top of my cheekbone just to start to shape it. I'm gonna do one side at a time so you guys can really see the difference. And this is going to look like I'm not even applying anything. It's so subtle, but that's kind of the point. So I just put some on my temples, on my jawline, and on my cheekbone. And you see that little bit of shadow that I have on my skin? This side obviously has nothing. You see how that like very lightly and very naturally just shaped my face? And that's why I really like this type of color. It literally just looks like a shadow on my face, but not in a way where it looks gray or muddy or weird. And that is why this product is really awesome. I'm also gonna take a small little fluffy brush. This is a Smith 230, and I'm gonna very lightly just run this on the sides of my nose, just for funsies. So I find that when I contour my face, it's nice to also contour the nose so that everything just looks cohesive. Now for my bronzer, I have been loving the Haus Labs bronzer. This is the Power Sculpt Velvet Bronzer in light level 3. If you're a beginner, this is such a great bronzer to try out because you honestly can't mess this up. It is so sheer in the way that it applies. So you're never gonna get like a super intense bronzer look, and it's very buildable. And I love that it has a soft glow without being shimmery. I'm gonna use this dual-ended Lunar Beauty brush. I'm gonna take this side. And when I'm applying this, I'm not really going as low as I went with the contour. Like the contour is right over here. I'm applying the bronzer more on my actual cheekbone. I'm just layering it until I'm happy with the way it looks. So for my blush, I'm going to use Tower 28 Beach Please in After Hours. This is a beautiful berry blush. So normally I would apply my blush concentrated more on my cheekbone. So I would kind of start it around here and then just bring it up. Now there's this new like blush trend going on right now that's called the I'm Cold blush, and it's basically supposed to mimic how your cheeks turn when you are out in the cold. And so the blush placement is more so right at the front of the cheek and also across the nose and even a little bit on the chin. I've been loving the way that it looks. I feel like it just looks so fresh. So I'm going to take this Refer 04 brush and I'm just going to start by lightly dabbing it right underneath my eye. And then I'm bringing it back and kind of blending it into the bronzer and the contour. So the majority of the color is right over here. And this is basically exactly where I get a little bit red when I get cold. My only suggestion is to do this slowly. So pick up a really small amount of your blush and then put on a very thin veil of color all throughout the cheek. And then pick up a little bit more. and then concentrate it on that area that you want the most pigment. So for me, it's like right there. And then I take whatever's left over and I put it across my nose. I don't really like to put a ton across my nose because I don't want my nose to be bright red, but I do think a little bit of blush across the nose is a really pretty look. And then I like to put just a little bit on the chin, even a little bit on the eyes. For highlighter, I don't always apply it, but when I do, I like it to be something like this. And this is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Elevated Glow. And this one is in the shade Crystal Nebula. And this highlighter is like honestly the perfect highlighter. It just gives such a beautiful glossy effect to the cheeks, and it's just intense enough. And then what I like to do, I told you there was a lot of steps to this makeup look, but again, I feel like it's these small details that kind of take your look from here to here. It's not the biggest difference in the world, but it does make a difference. Taking my blush brush, and I'm just dabbing over the highlighter, and this is just going to help make the highlighter look like it's really a part of the skin. So it doesn't look like there's a blush and then a stripe of highlighter. Everything just looks like one. For my brows, keeping it really simple, I'm just going to use a clear brow gel and run this through my brows. I really haven't been doing much with my brows lately. Like I haven't even really been using tinted brow gels. I don't know. I've kind of just been loving the more naked brow look. It's my version of the bleach brow. And this is the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. For my eyes, when I am in the mood to do some type of eyeshadow look, obviously I do still like to keep it really simple. I've been loving the Makeup by Mario palette that I just got, the Ethereal Eyes eyeshadow palette. And I just love the shades in here. I feel like it's the perfect, more cool toned, neutral, wintry palette. These shimmer shades are so stunning, you guys. They kind of give this like scattered top coat, sparkly effect to the lids. I'm gonna take this cool tone shade right here, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of this shade in the corner. And this is on a fluffy brush. And I'm just going to pack it on my lid and then blend the color out into my crease and kind of just create a shape with it. For day to day, I'm almost never in the mood to do a full on eyeshadow look. So if I am gonna put on eyeshadow, I want it to be really quick and simple. And this is really my favorite type of look to do. I love just like a light taupey matte shade on the lid into the crease, and then I layer a shimmery shade on top, which you're gonna see in a sec. I'm taking whatever's left over on the brush and I'm just running it underneath my lower lash line. Or the sparkly shade, which is the best part of this eyeshadow look. I'm actually just gonna mix these two shades and just dab it all over the lid. And it gives the prettiest wash of sparkle. I love a wing for day to day, and I've pretty much exclusively been wearing a brown liquid eyeliner. I just prefer how much softer it looks compared to a black liner. So the one that I'm using today is the Fenty Beauty Fly Liner in the shade Big Truffle. When I create a wing, I actually like a half wing, so I'll start it right at the midpoint of my lash line. By keeping this part of my eye bare, I find that it just keeps my eyes looking nice and open. So the only thing that I would recommend though when you do a half wing is that you make the start point very, very, very thin so that it blends into your lash line, because you don't want just like a hard start right in the middle of your lash line. You want it to blend, of course. And a little tip, if you have long nails, run your nail along the edge of your wing and that will sharpen it up instantly. Last step for the eyes is of course mascara. I'm just gonna use my Benefit Roller Lash. I really like how the black mascara kind of offsets the brown in the eyeliner. Pretty much almost done the makeup look, but we still have the best part, which is the lip. Ever since I dyed my hair red, I don't know what's come over me, but I've become a red lip person. And what is a red lip person? A red lip person is somebody who wears a red lip no matter the time of day and no matter the occasion. Anytime I would see somebody wearing a red lip, especially during the day, I would just think that they were such a badass. And I thought that it was such a power move. But lately, I've been wearing red lips during the daytime. So I'm gonna share with you guys the lip combo that I've been wearing for daytime and for nighttime, and also how I apply it so that it can last nicely. One of the biggest things that would hold me back from wearing any type of bold lip, especially during the daytime, is the upkeep. And so the application part of your bold lip really is very important, so you're not burdened by it for the rest of your day. So we already prepped the lips with the lip oil. So I'm gonna just wipe off the excess. And if you do still feel like you have flakes on your lips, I would recommend going in with a lip scrub. I really like the Burt's Bees one. So I'm going to go in first with my lip liner. This is the Rare Beauty Kind Words Matte Lip Liner in Wise. I kind of switch out my lip liner just depending on how I'm feeling. This is the one that I'm using right now. And I'm going to line my lips completely and also fill them in with this liner. Now you may be wondering, Jamie, why aren't you using a red lip liner? I do sometimes, but I really like this particular liner because it shapes and contours the lips really, really nicely. And even though it isn't a red lip liner, it still layers really nicely underneath a red lipstick. So I applied it everywhere. Now I'm gonna take a tissue and I'm going to blot my lips. And then I'm gonna take my finger and really work the product into the lips. I wanna create a very even base for the lipstick to sit on. Now I'm gonna do that again. Now that I've done it again, rubbing my lips together, really working the product in. I'm gonna blot it just a bit, barely anything comes off. But now I have a very even layer of color on my lips. I'm gonna go in the lipstick. This is the Dior 858 Red Pansy. I really love this red because it has more of those like burgundy tones to it and it's not overly bright. Now I'm just going to dab it on top of my liner. And because I use more of like a brownie liner, it's gonna kind of mute the lipstick a little bit too. Whereas if I use a bright red liner, it would transform the lipstick to be a little bit brighter. So I'm just kind of blotting it on the lip and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna work it into the lip with my finger and then I'm gonna blot it. I'm gonna do that again. And so the key is to just apply very, very thin layers, work it into the lip so it stains the lip, and then blot off any excess. I also really like the softer lip line look. I just feel like it makes it look a little bit more effortless. But if you like more of a cleaner lip line look, you can always go back in with your lip liner and redefine. And you can see that when I blot, almost nothing comes off because the color is basically like just stuck on my lips at this point. And so I find that this doesn't really fade that much throughout the day unless I'm eating something really aggressively, then yeah, obviously I'm gonna have to reapply. Besides eating, I find that this honestly looks this good throughout the entire day. The last tip that I'm gonna give you guys is to take your lipstick and put literally like one dab right on the apples of your cheeks and blend it out. And by adding that little bit of your actual lip color to your cheeks, it's going to just like bring everything together. Like, did that not just make a huge difference? I feel like it did. Like I said, guys, this tutorial is really all about those small details. All right, so that's it for today's look. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and perhaps learned something new today. Don't forget to let me know all of your thoughts in the comments and hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy today's video and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.